going on, guys? Noah from Kicking Their Bass TV here with another video, and I know you guys have been wanting to hear what we did at World Finals. Me and Foshi had a pretty decent finish, I'm not gonna lie. At World Finals, we really wanted to win that thing, you know what I'm saying? But we led the state of Georgia, and I'm proud to say that we did that. So, and we had a blast. That's pretty much all that matters. Yeah, we did work our butts off for that tournament. We were hoping to come with a first place finish, but it's not. You're not going to win every tournament, guys. It's just how it is. If you can win every tournament and you fish 50 tournaments in a row, you win every tournament, you come to me, I'll give you $500,000. I mean, that's a good job. But seriously, guys, you can't win every tournament. So if you lose a tournament or you don't place where you want to, don't get yourself down. Keep your head up. Keep flying, guys. I went from World Finals to Nationals in like 3 days in between. You know what I'm saying? So I went from kind of mad at myself, not really mad, but just not satisfied from World Finals going into Nationals. You know what I mean? It was just like. So you got to get your mind onto the next thing. Don't worry about it. That's in the past. You can't change what's in the past. So let's go ahead and go over what happened. So we were fishing the first day, and I'm gonna go ahead and start back a little bit. So we practiced for this tournament, which was World Finals on Lake Pickwick. I'll post all the Pickwick videos, vlogs, tournament video. The tournament video, by the way, I really think it was one of the best videos I've ever made. If you guys could please go check that out. It has almost about 10,000 views. You guys really showed me a lot of love on that video with the likes and everything. Really appreciate it. But pretty much it all started 2 weeks before the tournament. You know, we went down there, we practiced for 2 days. On the first day we had around 20 pounds, or first day we had around 22 pounds, second day we had around 20 pounds. So I mean, we were on the fish. We found the fish. They were out on those main lake ledges. You know, they're by the river channel. They're in that deep water where it's coming up the shallow. It's next to the river channel. Pretty much we're sitting out in the middle of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And then we had some backup spots like bridges and stuff like that. Just in case something happened, because you never know what's going to happen. You need to have a backup plan. That we could go to that. So we fished then, and we had around 20 pounds both days. So we had around 40 pounds total. I mean, that's amazing. That I would have won it, you know what I'm saying? So we come back 2 weeks later. We're hoping not too much would change. We knew it wasn't going to be exactly the same, you know what I'm saying? And so pretty much what we caught this fish on the 2 weeks before the tournament, we caught him on a jig. Caught some on one of the big old Ben Parker spoons there. That boat flipped a freaking 5-pounder in the boat with a big Ben Parker spoon. That's dangerous, but caught some on that. First time I ever caught one on a big spoon, so that was pretty cool. Mostly jig and everything. But anyways, going on, we practiced 2 days before the tournament. So we pretty much scouted the first day. We're more of scanning, you know. We're going over those spots we found those fish. We're trying to figure out if those fish are still there, where they're staged. We're marking waypoints, we're marking lineups. We're gonna come 50 foot before this, I'm just gonna say this, brush pile, and just get the lineups right and everything. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure we're prepared. So we're pretty much scanning the first day. Found some fish, we back off, fish them. And if you get a bite, we leave. You know, if we hook one, we call it one and done. One, you leave. You don't want to sore lip your fish. You just want to make sure they're there. So we were catching some, and the ones that we were catching were small. You know, they're only a couple pounds. The biggest one was probably like 3 pounds first day. We didn't catch too many. I broke one off that was really good on a drop shot. If you guys watched the vlog, I know you saw that. That hurt. I mean, I'm not trying to catch all the big fish during practice, but just to know I had a good one I broke off, that stinks. But pretty much just didn't have the biggest fish. So we went out the second day, and we're going out there, and we're going to scan again. What we noticed were those fish weren't exactly where they were the day before and or 2 weeks before. Those fish were kind of moving. You know, they were more scattered. They weren't. We were looking for them on the bottom, like just stacked up on the bottom. You know, we were finding schools of like 20 fish just lined up. You know, and then there's other fish layered feet within that, and we're finding tons of fish. And then that day they started to move, and we're just thinking to ourselves, what's going on? We're trying to analyze it. You know, you got to break it down. That's what really makes a good fisherman and a moderate fisherman. You got to break it down, guys, because you got to be ready for every situation that comes and hits you in the face. So we just had to stop. We were really trying to focus on, oh, the fish are here, the fish are there, the fish are here. But we really needed to zone in on what was really happening. You know, we had to get in our head. We had to get off what we were confident with for a second there and say, this isn't what the fish are doing. You know, we had to really reanalyze it and say, what are the fish doing? Then we started to locate them. What we noticed the fish were starting to do. We were finding the fish on those main lake ledges and or humps. The fish started to move towards, I guess you could call it, those secondary ledges or humps. So they're moving a little bit shallower in the ones that weren't near the river channel. So I guess you could call it secondary humps, not near the river channel. It was a little further back. It was like, I would call it a step closer and shallower. So pretty much what we had to do is find all new spots. All those spots were useless that we found 2 weeks prior and the day before prior. Those spots were useless, you know, they were trash. I want to call them 100% useless. You could sit on them all day, you could probably catch a fish or two, you know. But we wanted to be on the fish, we wanted to find the fish. What are the fish doing? We wanted to catch them, you know. We wanted to just have it down packed. It's our last day of practice, so we pretty much scanned the rest of the day. Found some new spots, found this one spot that was really good. We saw some big fish on the graph, and I was like, all right, let's just test it one time, you know. So we backed off. I got the boat aligned into the wind and everything, and I had my line up. I was like, oh, we're about 100 foot away from where the fish are at. Fish are lined up this way, so I'm going to kind of throw it at an angle so I'm in the strike zone. And sure enough, threw a first cast, working my jig, boom, 5-pounder. It was probably about 6 pounds. Gosh, I mean, got that on camera and everything. Big fish. I mean, 6-pounder in practice. That's freaking awesome. But not the day before the tournament. You know what I mean? I would love to catch a 6-pounder any day, except the day before the tournament. But we knew they were there. We were like, all right, you know, this isn't the only big fish. Kept our heads up. We're like, this isn't the only big fish. This fish are gonna stay here. So that was pretty much. And then my dad caught a smallmouth on this little rocky point, I guess you could say. That was pretty much a backup plan just in case crazy crap happened. So we found a backup plan, found some new spots, found a spot with some really big fish, and we knew they were there. We knew they were stacked up. So coming on tournament day number 1, first spot we go to, of course, the spot where I caught that 6. Go to that spot, fishing it for a little bit, boom, I get one. Really into the boat. It's about 2.5 pounds. So I get that fish in the boat. As I'm putting the cold ball on them and everything, put them in the live well, Foshi, she gets one. It's about the same size as mine, maybe a little bit smaller, probably about 2 pounds. Mine was 2.5 pounds. I'm like, all right, this is the start, you know. It was like that. We caught the fish just right on, so we were like, all right, we're gonna stay here. If we start to catch too much, we're gonna move off and see the fish for the other days, you know. But we kept on fishing it, and sure enough, boom. I believe Laura Ann caught a really good one there, and I believe it was around 3 pounds. Caught one there, and then she hooked into another fish, and it was, I really want to say about 7-8 pounds. And if you guys watched the tournament video, you guys saw it. She got up to the boat, and literally right at the net, it jumped off. And if you guys haven't seen that video, go watch the tournament video. It was a giant. I mean, it was probably a good 7-8 pounder. And when I mean to the net, say this is the end of the net right here. Here's the fish. Like it was, I can't even explain how close it was. It was just inches, and the fish just jumped off, and that hurts. You know, when you lose 8 pounds. Say your smallest fish is 1 pound. Think about adding 7 pounds to your total weight. You know what I mean? I mean that's just insane. So that happened. Then we went to one of our other spots. I threw in there. I caught like a 4.5. Boom. It was the biggest fish of that day. And then I believe she caught one that was around 3. And we ended up with a total weight of like 13 pounds, almost 14 pounds. We're sitting in like 16th place right there. And we're leading Georgia. The way they did it was a little bit different. So we're sitting around 16th place. Going into the second day, this fish has started to move, guys. The first spot, Laura Ann got a good one. Got into the boat. Pretty big fish. Went to our second spot. Got another one. And then we ended up having to hit our backup plan. Like I said, my dad caught a smallmouth. and we picked up a smallmouth there. It's just pretty crazy. It saved our butt. We ended up having like 11 pounds that day with like a 5-pound kicker. So that was pretty good. And we're still leading Georgia then. So we're going to go on to the third day, and we're not going to have to go into the second chance qualifier. We're pretty much going to automatically qualify for the first top 20 teams. And by the way, there was like 180, 190 boats in this whole tournament. So there's a lot of teams. Going into the third day, just catching tons of small fish. And we messed up really bad right here. And this is one of the most important things you need to know. You need to look over the rules, guys. You need to make sure you understand everything about the tournament. When you need to check in, what's the length on the fish, you know, if it's 5 fish limit, if it's a 3 fish limit. You just need to know all this simple information. It may sound simple, but you just need to know it. Well, we thought how they did it was I exactly don't remember now, but it was like Tennessee was 12 inches and Alabama was 14 inches for all fish. And I'm not sure if that's backwards or if not, I don't remember. But we were catching we thought, or actually it was 15 inches. So we thought the limit size was 15 inches. We were catching 14 inches and 14 3/4. All right, like on the money. Like, I mean, it was just there. And we're throwing them back. And the matter of the fact is 12 inches was a keeper. And we're sitting here throwing all these fish back. I mean, we could have easy 8 pounds. Just threw 8 pounds back. Then I missed about a 5.5, 6 pounder at the boat. Like, he just was coming at my bait. I was throwing a chatterbait at the time. He just freaking darted at it and then just took away. And I was like, man, that sucks, you know. It was right there. Just couldn't bite it. But pretty much we would have like 8 pounds. We're heading back in, and we finally realized, wow, it was only 12 inches. And I mean, that screwed up the whole tournament for us, you know. We probably could have fished the next day. We could have had a possible chance of pretty much winning the whole thing, you know. But at that point, we were pretty much whooped, you know, and we're just thankful to get where we got. We led Georgia, and I mean, that was an accomplishment for us. And we were happy with it. We had a good time, and we got to fish, 3 days of the tournament. And it was a good time. So pretty much what we caught it on was pretty much everything was on a football jig. I'm not going to lie. I did throw a chatterbait the last day, in which I caught about 8-10 pounds on was a chatterbait. But of course, we didn't weigh any of those fish in. But the jig I'm using, one of my buddies hand customizes Chattahoochee jigs. It's just a football jig, and it's a 1 ounce jig. So it's pretty heavy. And this one's in brown. It has a little bit of green flakes in it. And then the trailer is just a regular rage crawl. It's green pumpkin with a little bit of chartreuse on the back. That's the bait that we're throwing. We're just killing them on it. I mean, they're just tagging the crap out of it. And the pole I'm using, or the reel I'm using, is Abu Garcia Revo Rocket. It's a really great reel, and the reason I'm using it is because I'm hooking this fish out deep, and I'm pretty much wanting to get this fish to the boat as quick as possible. I don't want to lose those fish. There's largemouth, love the spit lure. So pretty much that 9-to-1 gear ratio reel got the fish to the boat really quick. And then I have a Legend Tournament by St. Croix Rods, and this is a 710 heavy power rod. This is a swim bait rod, not a jig rod. But I am using it for a jig. I was using an extra long rod. Like I said, I wanted to get this fish out from deep. I wanted to make sure I got a good hook set and I got the fish to the boat. It will wear you out when you're working and stuff, but heck, it's worth it. Never lost a fish on it, and just did all performance-wise. It was great. If you have any questions over any Abu Garcia reels or St. Croix rods, I have plenty of reviews on my page. You can go check it out. But pretty much, guys, that's what happened at World Finals. We did pretty good. If you guys want to go watch the vlogs, I have like 5 vlogs out for it, and I have the tournament video, which the tournament video is phenomenal in my opinion. And if you guys can please show the channel some love and go check out that video, that would be amazing. So if you got some little tips out of this and you enjoyed watching the video, please give the video a thumbs up. Be sure to go check out my latest vlogs with my dad twerking and everything. See you guys next time.